Hello, this is Will Robertson of the Aerospace Education Services Project for Summer of Innovation. This lesson is part of the Aeronautics unit, and while it is not listed as the first lesson, I think it really sets up the unit well. This lesson guide integrates a series of activities highlighting what must be done to overcome effects of gravity for Earth orbit. Let's begin by looking at the following activity. It's called Fluttering Fun Point of Balance. This activity can be used with large groups, or it can be used as an icebreaker, or as an engagement to understanding rocket launches. The objectives of this lesson have students investigating the concept of center of gravity to determine the center of gravity of a two-dimensional object by balancing it on the top of a pencil. They will also change the center of gravity of a two-dimensional object by adding paper clips and balancing it on the top of a pencil. This lesson comes from the NASA Y files, the case of the Challenging Flight Educator Guide. You will need the following materials. You may want to include different types of paper and different types of clips. Key vocabulary that will be developed is listed, but be very clear to explain the difference in the center of mass and the center of gravity, which are often misunderstood. When you click on the activity for Fluttering Fun, it will lead you to this worksheet that shows the objective and has the pattern for the butterfly students will use in the activity. And by the way, you may not want students to see this worksheet since the illustration may give too much information in solving the challenge. Try this out before you have students do the activity. You can have students experiment with different types of paper and different types of paper clips. You should also see what happens if you alter the wings. To conserve paper, you may want to have the pattern on a separate master, and there are 8 patterns on one sheet. Students many times have misconceptions understanding the difference between the center of mass and the center of gravity. One of the resources at the end of this video will be helpful in understanding the relationship between gravity and orbit. The suggested sequence starts by introducing students to the concept of balance and then applies it to rocket launches. You can find further additional resources by going to the Exploring the Extreme Educator Guide, where you can find the center of gravity using rulers, plumb lines, and changing the center of gravity using momentum. Popular toys such as this bird use the concept of center of mass as a discrepant event to capture interest. Have your students explain how the butterfly balances on the pencil. You might want to have students understand how a fulcrum works. They can find the balance point by placing an object on a table edge or a fulcrum to find the balance point. How do you find the center of gravity on an asymmetrical object? Well, you draw a straight line from any corner across the shape. And now draw a straight line from a corner not too close to the first. Where the two lines cross, you will find the balance point. Earlier, I mentioned a great website for understanding gravity and orbit. The first link is great for all your students to learn about this concept. The second website has a great math connection and shows more methods to determine center of gravity. The third website shows your students how to use plumb lines to find center of gravity. Each of these links can be found in the bookmarks area of this presentation. Well, thank you for joining us as we explore great lessons together at NASA's Summer of Innovation website.